Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Just Another Kill Team podcast, connecting kill team communities across the globe. If you're passionate about the tactical skirmish game that brings together strategy, lore, and creativity, you are in the right place. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and stay updated with our latest episodes. If you want to support the show, check out our Patreon. Your support means a lot to us. Follow us by using the social media links in the podcast description for all the latest news, and be sure to leave a review to let us know what you think. Thanks for tuning in. Here's today's episode. Are you excited about either of the Dead Silence teams?
I think suits are kind of cool, but they kind of suck.
Yeah.
But they're cool. Like, I don't give a crap about the Wolves, honestly.
One of the locals here has already played like 10 games with the stealth suits, and he's won 9 of them.
That's crazy. You know what it is, though?
It's pretty gnarly. And one of his wins was, I mean, I've been on also like a 10-win streak just with Angels of Death, just running vanilla, running the chainswords, and he was the one that put an end to it with the stealth suit. So I was like, all right.
Stealth suits can win games, but I feel like if you play into like a higher activation team and they don't walk at you, I don't know what you're supposed to do.
It's, yeah. I mean, like, security and seek and destroy have to walk at you, because if I let the stealth suits get 4 points on retrieval and then don't get anything, then it's a rough time.
Well, if you're like a high activation security team, you just plant the banner like after the activations are all done. If you're playing seek, you shouldn't play seek in the stealth suits.
Yeah,
no, don't play seek and destroy against
like seek and stealth suits is like the worst possible choice. Playing seek into any 5 model team is terrible.
Well, it's also like you're playing right in their hands. It's like, please come to my house for.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fun. I don't know if they're good. They're not good right now because they're just matchups that are impossible. But
Goremongers is literally impossible. Yeah.
See, that's like, the plot twist. Because Travis and I played that game, and it was literally impossible just for the Goremongers.
I don't know what you were doing, Travis.
Look,
I was. Okay, to be fair, it was the map where there's like a big shooting valley, and Jason decided to engage with me in the shooting valley, which we both agreed afterwards, like, maybe we don't go there.
Well, because there was no way to not engage with the shoot valley, because you put the setup trap thing in one of my staging points, and then there's 2 other ones, and if I stage 2 guys at each, then I give you a torrent, and if I don't, then you go on engage with the dude with the neutralizer, I think it is, and you system jam one, counteract system jam the other, and now I have 2 guys stage 4 with -1 APL, and another place that I can't stage, and I can't stage anyone else up because you torrent me.
Wait, no,
so
you can't system jam a valid target. Can you? Wouldn't he be? Isn't it cost 2 APL?
If you're on conceal order,
you do it on engage because they can't hit you.
But doesn't it cost 2 APL to do the
only
visible
if you're
version?
Conceal order?
If
you're on a conceal order,
and
with the stealth suit. Yeah,
on conceals it costs 2, on engage it costs 1. So against the melee teams, you just stand in the back.
Yeah, I did do that, but I thought,
and then throw stuns at them.
It's pretty spicy, which is my reminder that I should put that video out. Because I haven't yet. But also, I'm going to say that's going to be our start of the conversation, was that crazy talk about stealth suits versus Goremongers. And as I'm sure you all have heard, if you recognize his voice, we've heard him before, Aleksa from Australia.
Hello.
He's killing teams.
Here to talk about Fellgor Ravagers, the new meta menace.
Is the counter meta menace, okay? It's different, okay?
I mean, they did well at Worlds. They were one of the the picks to fight against both Deathwatch and Canoptic Circle, and they made, I think, 3rd and 4th.
Yep, 3rd and 4th. It was Dylan at 4th and Landon at 3rd.
Yeah, a strong team that has never not been strong, but also we're here for the Learn to Master, so we'll try to walk everyone through Aleksa's thought process going into the team, through his first set of practices, and then after the first major tournament. And I guess as a little bit of a preview on that one, Aleksa did just take a 6-0 at a 6-round Australian tournament with them.
Yeah, but I had to kill a lot of Space Marines to do it, and it wasn't too bad, honestly.
I mean, that's kind of like the vibe for Fellgor as the counter pick for Worlds, right? Like, they knew they were going to be fighting against the Canoptic Circle and the Deathwatch, and they had all the tools to do it.
I mean, man, generally from talking to people, I think people would be concerned about Deathwatch to some extent. But you're like, this is an answer to Canoptek more so than Deathwatch. Like there are better answers to just Deathwatch specifically, but Fellgor are okay. Like, you know, it's not easy, but it's not like unplayable or anything to Deathwatch.
All right, so then that kind of leads us nicely into the first thing. Like, when did you pick up Fellgor? Why did you pick up Fellgor? And was it because of the approved ops changeover, or were you already kind of thinking about picking up Fellgor after, you know, your run at the WTC?
It was just Canoptek. I was just like, I want to try and find a Canoptek answer that isn't, you know, just play Canoptek as well. And between the approved ops changes and what Fellgor did, I looked at it and I was like, if I just play flank and I tug them and I don't die, I'll win the game eventually because they'll score no points and I'll max flank. I'll win because of that. So a big part of it was approved ops because I think the new approved ops are truly disgusting for Fellgor.
Mostly just for flank,
Okay.
or is it like crit ops and stuff that are also contributing to that?
Crit ops are helping a little bit as well because they're less action. There's a lot more like stand on the circle crit ops that require you doing very little else to score them. Yeah, the crit ops are also somewhat like better for them. Like there's less extraction intel, like all these pickup ones that you have to survive. That is helpful, but flank is the biggest contributor because those things will also benefit your opponent, but flank will not benefit your opponent.
Yeah, flank is, you know, the tac op that forces your opponent to play kind of the same mini game as you, but in the opposite direction. And running into the loving arms of the Fellgor is probably not what most teams want to do.
No, not at all. Yeah,
Especially
it's such a and then also the fact that like frenzied ghosts are still counting for it is such a like silly interaction. You just got all these frenzied goats. You know, oh yeah, that's cool. Me on my VP. It's good.
Yep.
But yeah,
Fortunately, it feels very reminiscent to when Fellgor first released, and then there was recover items from people, so you would kill them, and then things would be on the ground, and they would just grab them.
yeah,
That was confirmed kill. But yeah.
confirm kill. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So also, before we get too far off of this one, I have a question. Was there something else that stood out to you as potentially a good counter Canoptek, or was Fellgor the first thing you tried and it just worked so well you stayed there?
The other kind of interesting one I thought of that I messed around with a little bit was Hunterclade. I think Hunterclade were actually interesting because there's a few things you kind of need for Canoptek. You need healing of some kind because you need to deal with the little bugs and then not be dead. You need some form of super conceal to play ITD at all because if you don't have it, you just get guarded by the Cryptek and Blaster off the board. You need a ton of damage. You probably want some melee and you probably want some big bases. And Hunterclade fit all of those as well. But they're rotated now, and I don't want to build in Pain's Kitari.
No chaos
Valid.
cult. You know, it seems to tick some of the boxes. You know, you got a lot of dudes, you got a 40mm, you get some healing.
Yeah, but there's no super conceal, so it's impossible on ITD. I don't know what to tell you. Like the truly, especially on release, the Seek Light Guard was like, oh, like I don't know what you're supposed to do. Like it's such a disgusting combination if you're playing a short range team. Like I mean, I think Sanctifiers on open could maybe play into them, but the moment you get on ITD, it's like cool. I can't stage my models anywhere useful.
That's why you got to just feed one guy to the guard action and then flood the room.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I don't know if I can really afford to do that.
Look, I've done that with Mandrakes, and it did pan out in the 2 times I've tried it.
But Jason's always got some crazy strategies that seem to work out fine.
Yeah, sometimes maybe it works out. Maybe I'm too much of a coward, honestly.
Plenty of times it doesn't
You heard it
work
here
out,
first.
but plenty of times it does. Who
Aleksa's
knows?
coward.
If you watch the way I play, I pick the most cowardly choice every single time. Like, oh, I could roll dice and fight you. I could just go touch the objective and spin here. Yeah, that'll do. I'll do that.
And I guess it sounds like you looped all the way back on the Fellgor game, like the original Fellgor game plan that everyone was so tilted on when they first came out is like, what if they just charge you and just stand around? Because they don't need to initiate the fight. And if you start a fight and you lose, it's just an abject disaster.
Exactly.
It goes away instantaneously. Whereas if you like multi-charge and just hang out, you can just stand on an objective with 4 goats who've charged and not finishing them off. And it sounds like you're kind of doing that. Or that was the plan going into them because you could hug Canoptek Circle to death.
That was absolutely the plan into Canoptek. Yeah, I was like, there's no. If I declare fights into the spiders, there's no point. It's terrible. But if I just charge the spider and make him declare 2 fight actions, then it's totally fine, you know. Or hug him with the whip, and then he has to spend 3 APL to fall back, and he can't shoot anything. And he can't shoot me. So yeah, that was a big part of it, was like the fact that Canoptek didn't really have an answer to being hugged. That made it really good.
The only thing they can do is cast teleport out of the way, but that's, you know, one of your most important activations from the Cryptek. What were there any other matchups that you thought that Fellgor were weak into that you were kind of worried about, or is it just that Canoptek Circle was the big bad and was clearly the big bad because, you know, on release they have 3 D3 heal.
Yeah.
Multiple times in a turning point, which is just like insurmountable for the majority of teams that are.
If you're actually trying to kill them normally, hard matchups. Other than that, I imagine Blades of Cain would probably be pretty painful to play into. Thankfully, they dropped off the planet with Canoptek existing. Goremongers is a weird matchup because you kind of have to like be a shooting team. Like you just have to shoot them, not fight them. Jaegers would be a hard matchup. Not that they're particularly popular, but I think Jaegers are kind of a pain for Fellgor to deal with.
Yeah, and I mean, we had someone make it into the top 16 with them at Worlds, so it's not like they were not good enough. They just require you to be insanely precise to make them work out.
Yeah, well, I think Jaeger's biggest problem is their attack ops, which they just have the worst 2 choices.
It helps a little bit with infiltration being significantly better, but that definitely is still a tough spot for him.
It is better. Like the thing with infiltration is it's better, but there are like team archetypes that it's terrible against. Like lower model count teams, infiltration just gets really hard to play against. I feel like I don't want to track target space runes. I don't want to walk up to them like that, you know. And then I don't want to steal intelligence against 5 or 6 models. And there's no world in which I'm planning a device against the space range. So what do I, that's my feeling at least. I don't know.
All right. So that's why we're picking up Fellgor Ravagers in the first place. Did you get a lot of practice games? Did you play on TTS? Did you play in real life? How were the first couple practice games compared to what you went in with? Because you never really played Fellgor before this, it sounds like.
No, that was my first game of Fellgor. I can't remember who it was. Someone was looking for a Canoptek game, and I was like, all right, let's just try it. So I just played like 4 games against Canoptek in a row with them. That was basically. I didn't practice them beyond that. I just want to test this theory of can they beat Canoptek. So I played a couple of local people. I played Sammy as well. It worked. I beat them into the ground. There was things I was learning each time because I rocked up and was like, what do these stupid goats do? All I know is charge and roll the dice. And so one of the things we're trying to master a new team is trying to figure out what you're missing out on. So even when I was winning, I was like, I'm definitely there are things here that I could optimize more. So the main 2 things was the healing from the shaman. I just wasn't using it very effectively, and I realized at some point, man, I can just heal for 6. What? Sorry.
Yeah, you can just heal a goat to full.
Yeah. And then especially towards the end of my run when I was playing against all the wolf scouts and stuff, was using the gong, the reducing crit to normal damage. Crazy important to optimize the team into those harder matchups.
Yeah, because you can line up an operative that just can't be unfrenzied.
Yes. Well, can only be frenzied in melee. Yeah, you still get them in melee, but you can't shoot them in frenzy. So there was a point where there was 3 space wolves on guard in a room, and a frenzied goat there next to the gong, and they couldn't do anything about it.
For anyone that is unfamiliar with the gong and why it's so important in those matchups is because a crit and a hit can get you to that 10 damage breakpoint in a bunch of different cases. Whereas if it's all doing normal damage, it guarantees that it's going to take 3 hits in melee to frenzy or kill a goat. And without the gong, it's way more oftentimes going to come up as 2 hits.
Yeah, it's a big part of the difference in the Space Wolf matchup, letting you get 2 hits into their face before you get frenzied. Because it's such a huge extra chunk of damage in melee that you're getting off that otherwise you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Okay, so your first couple test games were against Canoptek Circle. You were using flank because flank is kind of the game plan. You can run a goat to your opponent's side by charging them and passing, which is always the nightmare because now your opponent's got to spend all of their activations to get a goat off and then a new activation to kill you. And throughout that, the goat can always win a fight on accident because they do 4 or 5 damage.
Yep. And they have 10 wounds, right? they're chunky lad to get rid of.
As far as like the melee breakpoints go, Fellgor have that same, like, I'd take 3 hits to kill, and I've got 4 attacks on 3, so the likelihood of you pushing 3 attacks unabated is pretty low.
Yeah, basically
And backed up with Super Conceal and all of your different champion abilities and all these random chip damage, you also have a lot of like small little special plays. Were there any of those operative tricks or Firefly ploys or strat ploys that you felt like overperformed from where you started picking up the team versus after some practice games before this tournament?
Getting value out of the Mangler was definitely something that like took me a little bit of time. Like he's like the killer move, and you always just want to use it from the start, but you really sometimes just have to have him sit around doing nothing for 2 turns to find the right time for him to go and delete a Space Marine. Ploys wise,
and the Mangler is the blind goat
double strike guy. So you can double strike and double fight natively, like without having to get +1 APL. And he can just delete Space Marines with his double fight. Like he is a menace, absolutely. And yeah, getting value out of him is quite tricky, I found, because you really especially like in something like Wolf Scouts, or I played into Plague Marines as well. You kind of have to get something out of him, because otherwise you're going to really struggle to get those Marines down, especially when they can heal. Getting more out of the Gorehorn as well with his leveling up mechanic, trying to get him some nice double kill plays with the chaining the charge off of the heal. Blood Sense, I got the dirtiest Blood Sense. Oh my god. Blood Sense was
Blood Sense is the follow-up charge after you kill someone, right?
Was it Blood Sense? No, that's Animal Fury. There's a double activation play. If you kill a guy within 3 of a goat, you can chain activate that goat. So I had a turn where I was slightly behind against Mandrakes. So what I did was I charged, and then I didn't fight the Mandrake, so I couldn't fight first. Then I ran up another goat next to that Mandrake, and then next turn, going into the turn, I had +3 on the initiative roll. So I won the initiative, fought the Mandrake that I'd charged the previous turn, which then allowed me to activate the other goat, and just killed 2 Mandrakes at the start of the turn, and completely flipped the game. I just ran up. I just ran next to him and just stood there.
Time is actually a flat circle. The old arguments around Fellgor being overpowered have come back again.
What if I just charge you and I don't fight? What are you gonna do now?
Truly a nightmare. Yeah, and that, for anyone who is wondering, that ploy is Blood Sense.
Yeah, I got it right. So yeah, that ploy especially, I think I could get more. I didn't utilize it as much as I could, definitely, and it definitely is a very powerful ploy. And even thinking back, there were a couple of situations where I probably could have triggered it, and I just kind of forgot about it. Because there was another game, the last game against Wolf Scouts, there was just 3 Wolf Scouts and 6 goats all bashing each other's heads in the center room of an ITD map. And I'm almost certain there was a point where I could have pressed the Blood Sense button and had gotten an extra kill.
Yeah, and generally those Blood Sense kills are going to be the things that kind of break the games wide open, I think. When I've played against Fellgor as those shooting teams, I've looked at my opposing Fellgor player, set up a bunch of traps, and then I've made one mistake, and suddenly the Blood Sense triggers the second goat to run in, and now it's just a disaster.
And 3 people die in one turn, and you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that's most of the shooting horde teams against most of the melee specialists. Goremongers with the aspirants, Fellgor with the chain charge, and some GA2 stuff across the board. So it can be a little bit of a nightmare there.
Yeah, but there's very few teams now in that sort of 9-10 man space that can double activate. There used to be a lot more. A lot of that has been curtailed, but Fellgor still get to do it. So that's a very big part of the power that they can bring in.
Yeah, and it still remains just as brutal as it ever has been.
Yeah. I think the other ploy that I got more use out of over time was the auto-retained when expended. I think I really undervalued it to start with. Especially
against reckless determination. So as long as you're expended, you get a free save. And when you've got those 5-up saves, any save is great.
Well, the big difference it makes it quite a lot easier to block a crit when you're frenzied. Because if someone shoots you and they get their 1 crit, 2 hits or whatever, and you just need to roll 1-5 to on your 2 dice to block it. It's a lot more likely than if to roll 2 5s or a 6 on 3. So it makes a big difference.
The 6s are still possible there. So
yeah,
you have 2 1/3 results in a row.
Yeah,
reasonable.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty good odds that you live because of it. I was playing a game against Canoptech before they changed it so the Banisher beat Frenzy, and there was just one determined goat. I think he tanked 3 Banisher gunshots. He just kept auto-rotating one, rolling a 5 and tanking the crit. And I was just like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, you get dimensional gun and you crawl out of the hole as it's closing.
Yeah. Just opens it, yeah. Yeah, local goat's too angry to die. Absolutely.
When you were playing those games with Fellgor, what tricks felt easier at the beginning versus what tricks felt easier by the end? Like, what things were you seeing? Obviously, Blood Sense is one that you felt like you maybe missed, but obviously Fellgor have a lot of individual operative abilities, like the Vandal Sweeping Blow, or the really fast, the guy with the extra arm, the Flux Spray, who can do
the Beyblade
really far. Yeah, who can Beyblade and do a couple of extra hits. So like, there's all these like tiny little abilities that can all add up in some of the tighter matchups for Fellgor. And anytime you get that D3+1 damage with the Whirligig, you can suddenly change a lot of breakpoints against the other melee teams.
Yep.
So did you find a lot of those, or was it because you were playing against Canoptech Circle in practice games, those specific things didn't really come up for you?
Those came up a fair bit because, again, I didn't want to charge and fight them. So I was doing a lot of just like charge, sweeping blow, or run around spinning and then die for the spinny goat. Using the super conceal effectively was a big part of it, obviously. Because it was also when Toon World came out, so like everyone was like, "I want to play Toon World." I'm like, "Okay, we'll play Toon World."
Do you feel like Fellgor are good on Toon World? I guess. What were they?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Like the teleporters are good for you now that you can just kind of touch it, and then no one can ever use them against you because they teleport into melee with you. Super conceal is very useful. Breach points can be annoying, but you have the leader dash to let you deal with those annoying ones that other like 2 APL teams can't in the same way. I think Toon World's pretty good for them, honestly. I think the
advantages of the ITD style boards where you have a lot more heavy cover floating around and you can like fully block visibility, and every once in a while maybe you go through a teleporter.
I don't think I used the teleporter a single time. I used it one time. I used the teleporter to run away in one game. They do make it harder to stage the Fellgors. I think it is easier to play Volcus, especially on any of the maps where you can you have a stronghold that is basically impossible to get a shot into, and you can put like 6 goats in next to the door, and you're just like, okay, I'm gonna now appear through the door just repeatedly, just conga line of goats through the magic clown door. Because quite frankly, I don't know what you're supposed to do about that. Like, there's just some maps where like, oh, can I get a shot? And you're like, no, the wall's too tall. No, you can't. I will put all my goats here, and then when you're out of activations, I'll charge you, and we'll be friends.
You'll just hang out holding them, waiting for the next turn so that you can kill them and keep going.
But yeah, in terms of tricks, definitely using the healing better and the gong, like positioning the gong, and both knowing when it was time to send him off to die versus keeping him alive. Because one of the things he does really, really well is he's kind of like your best answer to someone on guard. So I was playing against Hand of the Archon. There's a guy on guard. I'm like, well, Gong can't die. Gong, go tank the splinter rifle to their face. Because someone else charges,
because he's got a 4-up save, you can hit the gong knell, put him up to a 3-up save,
and then ignore the piercing. Yeah.
And you are going to get crit damage, so all of the tricks for these Rending 5, Lethal 5, Pierce 2s, like who cares? And he just stands there, takes the shot, and then someone else can go do something safe.
Exactly. Yeah. He'll probably die afterwards when someone charges him because he's now in the open, but he's done his part basically. It's okay if he dies.
So you've never had anyone not take the bait when you send the death knell out there?
Well, what are you supposed to do? I mean, they declare a fight. Like, they're not going to shoot him, obviously. They declare the fight action, and then he still beats their skull in because he's got a 4/4 melee weapon. So it's like, okay, cool.
Oh, so you're like gong knelling and then charging someone?
Yeah, physically charging the guy on guard, like physically, because if they don't,
this breaks the guard better just because
Yes.
now you're hugging someone regardless. But if you take the guard shot, it's like, you hit on -1 because we're point blank shotting, and I also have a 3-up save that ignores piercing.
or if I just keep the plus APL, I can just fight you and you can't roll dice as well. Like depending on what's shooting at you, like if it's not gonna kill you, you don't need to ring the gong necessarily.
Yeah.
Because realistically, they're correct choices anyway to fight you. So you probably just want to keep the extra APL so you can do stuff. They shouldn't, unless it's like, I don't know, like a melter gun. Okay, yeah, then you should ring the gong, obviously. But
could be a crack grenade, you know.
Yeah. A crack grenade on 5s, yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Well, you know, from Canoptic Circle, if they have crack grenades,
they're accurate too. Sure. Well, okay, their cracks don't get accurate too. Come on now, we know this. They only get accurate too sometimes.
So after all the practice games, you played against Canoptic Circle. You're heading into the first big tournament. You only played flank, it sounds like, and you're like, flank is the only way to go because I think that's what all the goats played at Worlds too. Because it was clear that if your opponent's going to play the same minigame, you're definitely going to win that minigame with goats because it takes 2 whole turn cycles to move you off of flank.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about the first tournament after all the practice games, because we mentioned earlier that you did do a little 6-0 run at a local Australian tournament. It sounds like, and you did play against 2 of the Wolf Scouts, matches that I think all 3 of us here would have assumed would have been a pretty hard matchup because 3 attacks is a lot less than 4 attacks against 5 attack Space Marines.
Yeah. So first run, we can go chronologically. So first was Plague Marines, which wasn't too bad. It was it was scary, but at least they don't make me -1 anymore to hit, so that helped a lot. And then general plan, just chip them, hide in melee, make it hard for them. Fairly new player, so it was a very chill game. It wasn't super serious. Second game was Hand of the Archon. And that was a bit brutal. Because the gong just stood next to every goat, and the entire gimmick of Hand of the Archon kind of just didn't happen because there were no crits.
A brutal game.
Yeah.
That does not sound particularly fun for the Hand of the Archon player.
Yeah, there was some portal interaction, but it was on the map with the little corridor teleporter, so I was just guarding on the broken wall, so he couldn't use the teleporter to get behind me. And then just running goats at him. And took flanked. It worked. It just works. But it's very hard for I think Hand of the Archon actually, if it was a different map, they'd have to play unreasonably aggressively. There's this problem you have, especially if you're a team like Hand, where you're activated by Fellgor and outnumbered, but it's really hard to trade efficiently, and you kind of have to just go for unreasonably aggressive play to get anything, because if you do just run the shredder up straight up the middle of the board, I have to really respect you. So there is some play there, but it's not like a natural way to play. Then it was Mandrakes. Mandrakes were really interesting. They were just running around throwing fireballs at me, as I'm sure Ace talked about. Never fight, just throw fireballs. And I just had to try to catch them. It was literally me running after them. And it was pretty tricky, honestly, to deal with. The Dirgemaw is a menace to society. He is just such a I'm just okay, so I'll just put my model 8 inches away. That's your range, right? You have a range on the stalking ability. And was like, no. It's just I pick you. And he's sorry, what do you mean?
You just become
if I'm in shadow, it's no, I just pick you. And I'm like, sorry, what do you mean?
Yeah, you just get to pick who your friends are, and then they just are your friends.
Coming from playing Corsairs, where I have to position my bird guy and watch out what he's doing, and I just get to, and it's this guy's just no, I can do it wherever I want.
And also, if you thought you were going to avoid it, he's going to teleport up to you. Rude.
Yeah. The conversation with Ace, he did mention that the Dirgemaw basically ends up being probably the MVP the majority of the game, and his value goes up over time, because by the end of the game, if you're one of 5 Mandrakes left against 5 enemy operatives, you effectively get to trim 2 activations off your opponent, because they got to use it or lose it, and if they lose it, it's horrific.
Yeah, the Dirge was so strong. The thing, yeah.
So what were the tricks, and what way did you get past the Mandrakes? Was it just the flank plan, or were there other important things that ended up mattering a lot?
That was the Blood Sense game. That was like I was losing, and then I got the sick Blood Sense play and just flipped the entire game. And eventually I just cornered the Mandrakes in their drop zone and just started charging them. They ran out of space eventually. Yeah, I put a lot of effort into getting rid of their leader
run
as
away
well.
for so long.
Yeah, exactly. That was basically it. Like you just have to eventually catch them, and then you can get on top, and then you can smash their skulls in. That's how it goes for Fellgor there. And then Wreckers were actually probably the hardest game I had to play. I'll be honest with you. That was game 4. It was Wreckers on ITD. He just brought 4 dudes with hammers. I was like, wait, what can I do to these guys?
Because then now the melee, when they start a melee, they could have a good chance to kill you because they're 5-6 and brutal. So you're never going to parry out.
They're going to have Wrecker points. They're going to kill me. Like, they're going to kill me. Like, there's.
And then if you ever get caught slipping once, you get blast 3'd or blast 2'd on a bomb squig, and it's a disaster.
Yeah, I had to use auto pistols to kill one of the bomb squigs. It was just shooting. I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll take the 2-3, go poo poo poo. Wizard shooting the squig with his brain blast, all of it. But yeah, no, that was a tricky matchup. It came down to 1 point, and I mean, Flank was the MVP again. It was just I could score my attack up. He was playing Dominate, so I just started running away, and so he only got like 4 on Dominate, and I got my 5 on tack because I broke through on one side. And it was good, yeah. And then the 2 Wolf Scout players. So
yeah. Right. Now, so you've crawled through the wave of players, everyone on, they're good teams, good matchups, with Blood Sense coming in clutch and Flank being the 5-point swing that you're expecting.
Minimum 5, sometimes 6.
5-point minimum that you're expecting, because the goats count for 2 as they control zones, which is really, really hard to beat when they start with 20 APL, and they can also comms themselves to actually make it more than 20. But you're into Wolf Scouts, the new menace that everyone is freaking out about. They've got the Blizzard. They get charged from Conceal. They've got guns. They are never injured. They're never stunned. So what was the game plan? Obviously, you haven't played Canoptic Circle a single time.
Wolf Scouts, but yeah. The plan was the same as all Marines, was to, slightly wear them down and then mangle their skull in, really. The Mangler kind of doesn't care about being 3 attack dice because he's going to get his 2 hits in, and then even if you frenzy him, he still, gets to do his second fight and then roll his 2 hits and then take your head off. Then the other thing was there are only 5 guys. Like, there's a dog. The dog is kind of a freebie. Like, you're going to kill the dog. It's kind of brutal, but he kind of... Well, one game he did nothing, which was probably the correct play. The other game he went aggressively, and then I just punched it with the Null Scar. But really, the plan was pretty simply just to make sure I was always hitting on 2s when I was fighting, basically. Like, I wasn't going to initiate fights unless I had basically combat support. And that was like,
you're always in the Blizzard, so you're always at 3 attacks. So starting a combat step with 3 attacks on 3s, you're expecting 2 attacks, which is a guaranteed goat dying, effectively.
Pretty much, he'll parry me, and then he'll kill me, and then I'll die. So it really was just like a lot of, charge, don't fight, charge. He uses his counterattack. Someone was like, oh, isn't he just going to counteract when you charge him? Like, well, he's going to counteract at some point, no matter what I do, right? Like, he's going to play that ploy and just, punch a goat in the face. But, and then, I got a 3-man Beyblade. I got 3 Space Wolves with it. I hit 2 of them. They were all in the middle room on an ITD map. They're all guarding, but he spins through, stabs them in the face, and then gets shot and dies. But he finishes the leader's last wound off and gets 6 damage in, which then eventually leads to them dying 2 turns later. And then just Mangler, Gorehorn going in with the double fights and actually killing them, because that really is the only people that can kill them reliably when they're not on 1 hit to die.
And actually, this kind of leads into something that Jason has always said about threat saturating. This is one of those things like, oh, your opponent has, Shadow's Bite on Mandrake, or they have counterattack on the Space Wolves, but they're always going to get to do it unless you just choose not to engage with them ever, which is never going to win you a game. So making sure that your first activation is not the only one that counts, right?
Yeah, it's either do nothing or do everything. Don't do a little bit. Like doing a little bit is what will cause you a problem. You have to, like against Mandrakes on turn 2, I didn't let them do that ploy because I just didn't charge and fight. And then on turn 3, I was like, all right, I'm blood sensing and running you down now. You can fight first, that's fine. I'll just charge again next activation, basically. And then yeah, beyond that, it really is just down to like the gong. Like the gong in this matchup is so key because they're just all lethal 5 chainswords, and so turning those into they just do normal damage is super key, because then it actually becomes really hard for them to initiate fights. Like if you have the gong there, they really don't want to charge double fight you, because that can go so wrong for them that it's kind of like a good threat. And then also their shooting becomes really ineffective into you as well, because what are they gonna do? Walk up and shoot a plasma pistol at you like once? Like they got one guy with a bolt pistol, right? So like they can't really.
You've got the Absolver bolt pistol, I think,
on the medic. Yeah, the medic's got a sicko bolt pistol, but everyone else is. I actually had this thought when I played one game of Level Scouts because I wanted to practice it. And I was like, man, I wish I had bolt pistols. These stupid plasma pistols suck. I don't want these.
Yeah, because actually one of the secrets of the team and why, they are obviously strong. No one here is going to say they're not going to be powerful, but they do only get to play like the dangerous Marines that move around and shoot twice, like basically never. So they're never, really a charge fight shoot team with only 5 guys, whereas Deathwatch, by comparison, are the full we can all shoot twice and we can counteract twice.
And we can charge fight. Shoot as well. Yeah. Like so really that's what it was like. They have all these things, but at the end of the day, they're just 5 bodies that kind of have to fight to do real damage. And that really plays into what Fellgor don't mind. Like, I'm going to spin, I'm going to do a bunch of mortal wounds to you, I'm going to chip you down, I'm going to sit around the gong. Like, this was one game where the gong like had to stay alive a long time. Because if he does die, then it does become really, really hard to do much. But as long as he's alive.
How did you like maneuver the gong across the battlefield to kind of keep him alive? Because obviously against the Wolf Scouts have 7 inches of move. They've got the dog who can do a charge, during Strat Gambit.
Yep.
So like, was he all the way in the back? Was he at the middle? How was he covering operatives? Because I do think that that model position is really important when you're fighting against Lethal 5 and Rending and all the other random stuff. But you got to make sure you position right.
I put him in the corner of a Volcus ruin. And said you can't get to him. And in the other game, he was on it was ITD, so he just stood behind a door, and just like I kept the door closed until it was all said and done, and then I opened the door to fight someone basically. Because he did less in that game because it's harder on ITD, but it's definitely fairly easy on Volcus to put him somewhere aggressive, because you just put him in a corner, put bodies in front of him. For some reason, it doesn't require visibility to get the gong benefit, which seems insane to me, but whatever.
I mean, a lot of the parts of the Fellgor kit do seem insane to anyone who's been playing for a long time, but they are a melee skew team, so ultimately they do break some of the rules in pretty interesting ways.
You can hear the gong. Why don't you just see it? I just need to hear it, right? Like it's ringing. It's ringing. I can't take crit damage. Can't you hear it, buddy? Like it's right over there behind that wall.
Yeah, what sort of songs are these Fellgors playing through the walls on Vulcans?
Yeah, and then on ITD, it was just put him on the door next to the objective. He ended up kind of playing himself with his mine, because he put it down in front of the door of his home objective. And I just kind of went, oh, cool. Now I don't have to worry about that door. I can just go put everyone in the middle.
Oh, so you actually just chose to like fully not take the bait.
Yeah, I full sent there so that he would plant the mine. And then I went, all right, now we're rotating to the middle, basically. Because you have the Pox guy. He's actually pretty good because he ignores stun. So he can tank the mine and then still have an APL left. So I was like considering, do I want to break this? But then with how things turned out, I just rotated him over and started throwing fart bombs at the Space Marines.
So you played two separate Wolf Scout opponents. What did they both do differently? Like, that you learn from match to match? Because generally I feel like when you're playing the mirror or the same match over and over, you would adapt from one game to another. So what did you do in the first game that you thought didn't work versus, what you adapted for in the second game? Or did you just play like the same game plan both times and it worked?
Roughly the same. Like most of the differences came down more to map than like because one was Volcus, one was ITD. I definitely used the stun grenade for the chip damage more in the second game. In the first game, he kind of like actually, I did maybe subconsciously like because I tried to put pressure on his home objective a bit more in my head in like the first game, and then I realized very quickly that I couldn't. And in the second game, like I instantly gave up on that plan as soon as I made him spend the mine on it. So that was probably it. Because yeah, I deployed like 7 goats into one building in that game, but it was just still like keeping a few people on the like right flank, being like, "Ooh, I might come for your objective," and then they ended up doing nothing in that game. So. And then the second game, I was
the
like,
adaptation was you kind of set up for a similar skew, but then when your opponent responded to the skew by placing a mine to disable that area, you just pivoted to the center objective, which you were kind of expecting to go to anyway.
Yeah, I was much quicker on the pivot to just everyone fights in the center room, which then gave me every like little bit of chip ability because it was things like I was not having during that first Fellgor game. I wasn't throwing any of the damaging stun grenades or anything. And those did end up actually mattering in the second game, because just even like 2 damage makes a huge difference. Like knocking them down to like 11 or 10 makes it so much easier.
From, the break point is they're 13 wound, 7 move Marines, but even going down to 12 actually matters a lot because you're 4-5 damage and suddenly you can theoretically kill them.
The -1 damage messes it up a little bit, but yes, it does make a big difference. I was amazed how many times the +1 crit damage came up during those just to get me back to my normal crit damage, just so that I could kill these stupid Space Marines.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting. I mean, obviously you have some experience with Chaos Cult because Chaos Cult did a similar thing in the past where the explosion on death is like the last bit of chip damage to clean up whatever target you're on. So those extra 1 damage pieces help a lot. Jason had it on Phobos where you could just flick someone for an extra D3 when you're like, we're pretty close to making it. Let's finish them off.
Oh, I hate that ploy so much. It's so tilting. I'm like, I've lived on 2. That's great. No, actually, D3. And I'm like, no, don't do it.
I mean,
you need that CP. You need that CP, bro. You just don't use it.
Like, it's that same problem with those warriors.
Yeah. That was it. Like the Wolf Scout matchup. Yeah, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. It's not good, but it's not like that bad. You have to play it like I said. You do a bunch of your chip damage abilities. You only fight when you're hitting on 2s because then you'll get your 3 hits. You save your CP for rerolls more than anything, honestly. You're like hitting on 2s. I've got all my CP and I've got my Chaos Sigil or whatever, and I'm gonna reroll everything and make sure I get you. I will say I basically never used the like reroll all my dice ploy. I don't think you ever need to play it, honestly.
Oh, interesting. So after playing all of these games against all of these different teams, do you feel like that's because your game plan is so flank and charge pass centric, or do you feel like it's just not a very good rule?
I think a bit of both. Like the time when it's most useful is when you're rolling like 4 dice on 4s or something. Which I don't think you should be doing very often, basically. Like I think it's if you're injured, you're hitting on worse, but like I don't think it's get some combat support in. You got 30 bodies, get combat support up, hit on 3s, hit on 2s, don't roll 4s, basically. Was my approach. I was like, even with the full rerolls, I'm like, I don't want to roll this. It doesn't feel good. And you have enough control as the Fellgor player to never be rolling 4s, basically, unless it's like desperate.
And I guess that's part of the adaptation right now in the current metagame because so many of the teams are these 5-man hyper elite style teams, right? We got Stealth Suits, we got Canoptic Circle, we have Ravagers, we have Deathwatch, we have Space Wolves who are like, you get 5 real operatives and then you get some flavor on the outer edge. And you are outnumbering them as the goats. If you're playing flank, then you can just make sure that your goats are in control range already, and then your fresh operatives are the ones that are hitting on 2s and 3s.
Exactly, yes. That really is what it comes down to. And if you're not playing that ploy, like, if you're normally going to play that ploy 3 times, you've got 3 extra CP to actually just CP reroll when it matters. Um, which I think is just
Yeah,
like,
because a single CP reroll on a good roll is probably going to do more for you than like a mid roll with violent temperament. Because if you're hitting on 4s already, you're getting 2 hits on average. So sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 4, but you're like expanding the range of results. Whereas if you're doing this other play where you're saving that CP, you could have ambush up, which is also pretty powerful. Normal to crit and empty to a normal, both.
yeah, no,
pretty
they
good.
got rid of the empty to a normal part.
Oh, they did. They did.
That's the part they nerfed. I was
Thank
like,
goodness.
why on God's earth do they have this? Why?
Thank goodness that's been removed.
Yeah, no, that was crazy. But yeah, no, I think, yeah, beyond that, I think it's just about picking the right times to fight. Like, you shouldn't be rolling that many fight actions. I think that a lot of people, you just want to fight. You're a goat, but you don't have to fight. You can just make friends and then let someone else punch them for you.
Doesn't sound very chaotic, Alexa, I gotta say.
Listen, chaos is about achieving your goals. Chaos can be very structured and planned out.
Yeah,
Chaos.
that's true. That's true. Okay, so starting from the beginning of picking up Fellgor, you were looking at them as a meta cut for Canoptek Circle. You've done some practice. You were able to beat Canoptek Circle by doing the hug plan. Going forward into this tournament, you were able to fight the new meta menace against the Wolf Scouts, along with all the other, I think, good teams of the season. Rekka crew are quite strong. Mandrakes obviously did very well recently, so they're also quite strong. Are you going to stick on to Fellgor for a little bit longer to see if you can push them at any other, large upcoming Australian tournaments or on the upcoming TTS league that's happening on Good Times Rolled? What is the future on Fellgor for you, or is it just kind of like a fun little experiment and you're kind of off for now?
I mean, my general MO is that I play a team for like one tournament and then I jump off to something else. Like, that's just how I always have been, pretty much. Like, if you look, there's maybe 2 or 3 teams I've played multiple times at tournaments, like Corsairs, Chaos Cult, and Wormblade, I think, are the 3. I'm going to play Salvages for the TTS League. And then I'm just waiting for the Sisters to come out, honestly. That's what I'm waiting for. I want to paint those models. I want to play that team. Hopefully it's good. I have no idea, but, we can hope. But yeah, that's basically it. I'm a jumper, I just jump around between teams. That's how I've always been. And so, I mean, maybe I'll come back to Fellgor at some point, but it's something to have it's like, it's nice to play all these teams and to always be able to kind of like, I've got some experience on them. I can pick it up. If it ever comes to
when
it.
you're doing like the team tournament settings, when you have all this extra experience on these other teams, so you can give people notes.
Or practice, exactly. It's like a good thing to have when I'm like, okay, yeah, Fellgor might be a problem at this tournament. All right, I'll play them for you to practice into. I'll be your little, your partner on them. I mean, that's, I think that if you can play a bunch of different teams, it like makes it easier to learn new teams like over time. Like, the more teams you've played, the easier it is to pick up a new team. That's always been like, and it'll make you better as a player. Like, it's my general belief that once you have an understanding of the core game, the more teams you play, the more you'll like learn and understand the game. And like because it just expands like your understanding of what's happening, basically.
And for Hearthkin Salvagers, obviously you don't want to I don't know if you want to give away the ghost on what you're thinking about, but obviously Fellgor Ravagers, you had a very explicit TAC op game plan. How are you drafting up future TAC op centric game plans? I mean, we mentioned, I think in the earlier part, where Hernkin Jaegers kind of rough for infiltration still, because even though infiltration is better, they still have these awkward matchups that haven't gotten better because of infiltration on like Space Marines and stuff. You're picking up Hearthkin Salvagers for this upcoming TTS tournament. What is kind of like the thought process of trimming out the TAC ops?
I mean, it's probably just mostly going to be retrieval, honestly. It's just recon.
Why retrieval?
So retrieval is probably the second best TAC op, I think, right now. The thing that makes retrieval really good is it's a very reliable 4. It's a not impossible 5. And it's extremely flexible. Like, that's the thing about retrieval, is the fact that you don't have to score any points on it till turn 4, and you can still max it. Like, when you're playing, route or something, if your opponent just doesn't give you anything on turn 2, you just score 0. You just score 0, you know?
Which is also one of those things against route and those style of tack offs where you give your opponent a lot of control. And if your opponent is thinking about it, that is a layer of the game that you probably don't want to give your opponents control over.
Yeah, whereas retrieval, it's like, okay, so if my opponent plays defensive, I'll just pick up the middle one and my home one, and I'll get my 4. And, you know, I'll be up already from the start of the game when they're under pressure. Or if my opponent plays super aggro and forces a fight, okay, I won't pick them up. I'll kill all of his models. Then I'll pick them up on turn 4. And, you know, you have complete, like, choice in how you approach this. And that alone, I think, makes it very, very strong. Beyond that, Salvage do also have other attack offs that probably aren't terrible. Like, I think Banner is okay into some teams. Envoy can be okay, although they're a bit slow, but they can play around it.
They've got the one guy that can always score the first envoy if you're out activating your opponent, right?
Yeah. If you're activating your opponent, it's pretty easy. Martyrs is even not terrible. Like, I actually think Martyrs is pretty good.
Because you get a little bit of double duty on them, right?
You get the grudges, you know, you die on the objectives. I don't know if I'd ever pick it over the others, but, you know, if the others ever became worse or whatever. But retrieval is just the easiest one. And also, Salvage have a pretty good action economy on doing objectives between the lugger giving you a free action. Now you have a map-wide comms, so it's really easy to set something up. Your jetpack can pick it up and fly away or fly into their territory. Like, you set the jetpack up aggressively, you give them +1 APL, you fly into their objective, you take someone's head off, and then you retrieval, and now you've got your 5, basically guaranteed. And then also they have
the Hearthstone Salvagers for this upcoming tournament is not just a meta cut, it's also, you think they're reasonably strong right now?
I just wanted to play them. I just like Salvages, and I was like, I'll play this team. It's not.
You just like
it's not a pick to win. Like, it's not that. If you ask me, like, what team to pick to win, I'd still just pick Canoptic. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you know, people are talking about Wolf Scouts, and I'm like, I don't know how you play Wolf Scouts in the Canoptic. I actually don't. Like, I can't imagine it. It seems really miserable as a matchup.
Because for all your 5 attack power, you still don't quite have enough attacks and wounds to quite kill a 21 wound model.
No, and he will. Well, you'll be 3-4, which is really bad. 3-4 is not good against 21 wounds, as it turns out. And they'll hit you and they'll hit you. They're -1 dice, but they've still got accurate too.
Yeah, they'll hit you for a little bit, and then if you don't kill them, they just run away, and then suddenly you're 3 sheets to the wind.
And their guns will kill you. Their guns will kill you.
That's why you got to hit them with the double shooting silent thing, because it chip them away, and then charge on conceal, chop them up a little bit, and heal your dudes also, because you got a medic. Do the power slide wolf charge to tie up everybody.
That's true. That's the power.
Well, isn't that just asking for the Geomancer to come hit you with his 4/5 severe weapon?
Yeah, but that's exactly where you want him.
Oh, I see. I understand. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, definitely. I don't really know where to go with the Canoptek circle being as strong as they are. I'm just gonna play stealth suits because
you just kind of have to ignore it. Like, that's what I'm doing. I'm like, I just ignore it. I'll play a team that could maybe beat them. Like I maybe would have played Aquilons, but playing Aquilons into Canoptic is truly miserable. Like, you just have nothing. At least Dwarves, like, the jetpack can go and snipe the Reanimator, maybe. Like, they have to really, like, play around it, and then if you do that, you can actually win the game. But yeah,
that's true. Yeah, the ability for you to just fly and show up in your opponent's backline is one of the things that can mess with Canoptek. You know, there's a reason why Mandrakes were a strong meta choice against Canoptek, because you can actually find a line on these stupid little bugs that are giving +1 APL and medics that no one else can interact with because they're 12 inches away from the front line.
Yeah. If you want to beat Canoptek, you need to have some way to, like, you know, break their front line, basically get around the wall. Which Dwarves have. They've got one guy. That's enough. If you can do it once and you kill the Reanimator, now the game is actually okay. But if you can't do that, if you're a shooting team that doesn't have that, which most shooting teams don't, it's like, I'll shoot you and you won't die, then you'll heal. I'll shoot you, you'll revive and don't die. Then I will be out of guns that can kill you.
And then the little idiots come over, charge those guys, and explode on death, and then kill your 7 wound shooter.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not good. Not good at all.
Well, and then there's always the choice of the leader in the background just retrievaling from like a safe position.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they just play, did they change? They can't envoy with the little guys anymore, can they? No. I think that was one of the changes. Expendables can't envoy. That's right. No, it was a change because it hurt the records as well.
Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Approved ops update log.
There's too many changes. I can't keep up.
Expendable. I don't think there's anything for expendable and envoy.
Oh, okay. Then it's fine. There might have been a world's ruling that hasn't been implemented yet.
Or an operative that's ignored for fill up. Yeah, no, they did.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
They finally did. Yeah. That was the nightmare. That was a nightmare at Worlds where we were like, can this expendable guy go?
Watching John play, was one of the Kelly kids, I think, and just respawn a guy and then declare him as envoy, and I was like, that's so stupid. That's so stupid. He's
a new envoy. He's
a new guy. He's a new guy. I swear. And I'm just like, oh, that's such a dumb interaction. But yeah, I think it's good. It's good to just ignore Canoptic existing, and you'll have a better time.
I mean, they're doing very well. In the week-to-week stat show where me and Jason hang out and yap on Patreon, they're doing pretty good.
I'm curious. Sanctifiers are holding up pretty well as well, right? Even though everyone said they were truly dead.
Much like the Void Dancers before them, as the team that everyone says is always dead whenever any change happens.
Yeah,
doing okay.
Yeah, I saw one that were like 54-55% for a bit. It actually was crazy. I was like, damn. I mean, really, it's just because everyone who isn't like a obsessive Sanctifier player probably just stopped playing them.
Yeah, there's. I think the last week-to-week stats put them at a 50, so perfectly fine, like playable enough.
Yeah. No, they're good. I might pick Sanctifiers back up if I'm going to pick up any team again. I really
you still enjoy having the horde of dudes with all that.
Yeah, I want a playable horde. I'm sorry, is that too much to ask for?
In the current metagame, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, Sanctifiers really probably are the only choice.
I mean, Brood Brothers remain reasonable, I think. Yeah,
Brood Brothers are pretty good as well. Yeah, no, I'm.
They remain reasonable.
Again, it's just Canoptech.
Yeah.
Sanctifiers on Volcus, you can beat Canoptech, I think. On ITD, it's but that's a different issue. That's just an issue of God. God breaks the game in so many ways. I honestly just wish we would have guard on both. That's kind of what I think, and then we can balance around it properly.
Yeah, instead guard is just a special action that every once in a while a team gets.
Yeah.
As long as they get to meet some preconditions.
Yeah, like being in the storm matrix,
The 12-inch storm.
It's very, very hard to position my models in the storm. It's skill testing, I swear. Because
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I was like, it's probably not that hard to avoid the storm. I have to be inside the storm to get -1 attack. I'll just charge and be outside the storm, and then nope, that didn't that did not happen.
As we discovered when the Psychomancer Crypt Tech was valid at the last Worlds, a 6-inch bubble is always on you.
Wasn't he 8-inch? He was even bigger. He was 8-inch. Which is insane.
Basically, anything past 4 is it's always going to be where your opponent wants to be.
It's like a third of the board, basically. Honestly.
Yeah. And the problem is that because we're down to 3 objectives, that third of the board is going to cover 2
objectives. Yeah, I mean it's the same thing that Canoptech does. Like Canoptech has a 12-inch line that travels just about right between 2 objective markers and a spot that you can hide the reanimator in between. Maybe if we had like more objective markers, that might help some things.
Yes, the horde team definitely got a lot worse when we went down to three objectives.
Interesting.
And we got rid of all the piercing weapons, so elites can just run around and stomp people.
If we went back up in objective markers, it probably would help the horde teams a lot anyways, just because you spread your opponent's attention, whereas like right now those 5 operative like hyper elites can just fight over 2 things. It's just the 2 things they want to fight over.
I mean, and then some of the crit ops make it so you only have to fight over one objective. Like, it's even more skewed like that. But that's that comes and goes, right? What can you do?
I think right now we're in an elite centric game, but we'll see where that goes over time. Obviously, there's still plenty of meta cuts because Mandrakes are not that team. They're a team that hunts on the elites, so maybe it's fine because the elites have their strong, like mostly their game plan, and then now everyone can work around them.
Yeah. And then the Space Marines with jetpacks are going to come, and we're going to get picked up and thrown into the bins.
Oh yeah, I mean that's definitely happening. They already said that there's one with talons.
Yeah. He's gonna. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's gonna grab you off your objective and chuck you somewhere else, and then he'll hug you and not shoot you.
No, please.
And then you can't do anything.
No more charge pass.
He's gonna pick you up and pass. No, it's not charge pass. It's pick up pass.
And while they're at it, they're
so
frenzy.
what other tournaments are you looking forward to in the near future? Obviously, there's the TTS League, which is going to be streamed on the Good Times Roll Discord over with our friend Bands. That one is like the Oceania League, so it's like the Philippines.
I mean, everyone can join in, but yeah, the time zone wise, they want you to play in that time.
Yeah.
We've got
other local scenes coming up.
Nothing for a few months. I mean, we have our monthlies, but I'm probably not going to have time. We've got a GT in Brisbane coming up in a few months. That I'm going to go to. I'm making some trophies for that. WT. I'm making that. Basically, I stole Lynette's idea, and I'm just making those kinds of trophies for.
Yeah, and just as a little teaser for the people who don't know, the World Team Championship, is in the middle of the year, but the head TO paints miniatures as trophies for players, and I guess Aleksa has been inspired.
Yes, I've stolen his idea, and I'm doing it. I can send you a photo of the one that's kind of done. You can chuck it in there.
Yeah, it might be the picture on Instagram with your head on it.
There's a lot of dead space. There's going to be dead Space Marines everywhere. Okay, I'm not biased, but Bronze is a Space Marine about to get chopped in half by a Goremonger, so.
All right.
And then other than that, we'll see. I need a little bit of. I'm a bit busy at the moment, but that's how it comes and goes, right? So maybe I'll do one of our monthlies if I can, if time lines up. If not, I'll do the GT for sure. And then we're definitely going to be back for WTC again next year. We're going to come podium this time. That's the plan. Okay. We went from 6th to 4th, and now we're going to go from 4th to 2nd first. That's the plan.
All right, good.
That's the math. Okay, that's the arc. Yeah. You see?
Strong words. We'll see how it goes. With the Americans hopefully back in the mix.
We'll see you there. Give it a shot.
All right, Aleksa. Thanks for coming on, talking a little bit in depth on Fellgor and the grind.
And a lot of Canoptek as well. And
against Canoptek. Yeah, a whole bunch of different little things.
Yeah.
We're talking a little bit about what's coming up.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me on. Pleasure as always.
And as always, for the listeners that made it to the end, thank you as well for listening until the end.